before I turn tonight's event into the capable hands of Katherine, just a little background as to how this turn came out. I'm standing in front of you. Sorry. Patricia Frischer was the organizer for Movers and Shakers, which was put on when in August of 2008 at Art Expressions Gallery. And it was a group show of artists who did portraits of movers and shakers in San Diego. Critics, museum professionals, people who were making the scene in San Diego move along. The movers and shakers idea gave a lot of opportunity to a lot of artists to show their talent, obviously, but to showcase these people. This went on for a month and a half maybe, and through that, a lot of questions came up about what constitutes a mover and shaker, all the connotations of that, the power that goes along with being called a mover and shaker, who's deciding who got picked, who didn't get picked, who was left out, et cetera, et cetera. So in that dialogue, not criticism, but in that dialogue, David White had posted on Art is Authority a heartfelt response to the selection process, what he thought could have potentially been done about the Movers and Shakers show. Through that post, Joe Swendoza and myself, who were both people who were painted for that Movers and Shakers show, Philly threw down the gauntlet, so to speak, to David, having an obvious different opinion about what the Movers and Shakers was about and what it meant. So this is how it sort of got started. The idea was to take that discussion into another venue. Several months have gone by since, and thankfully Lynn Suschultz let us do this. At that point, we thought it would be a good opportunity to expand on the idea of that and to open up the dialogue even further. So we're grateful that Movers and Shakers happened. We're grateful for the dialogue, and this is what this evening is about. It's about dialogue, community, building community, sharing ideas, opinions, and throwing out what you have to say. So that's kind of the background. That's why we chose to ask Robert Pincus to be here, to have Patricia, because she was the part of the Movers and Shakers. So we're all here to get those ideas and get those voices out. So I'll shut up and hand it over to Katherine.
All right.
Thank you.
You guys ready? These are the rules. I'll ask a question, and each respondent will get 2 minutes to answer the question. I have a timer. You don't need to use your whole 2 minutes, of course, but after everybody has answered on the panel their question, or responded to the question, then we'll open up the discussion to you guys also. The 2-minute rule probably applies to you too. Let's try to keep it brief, but the questions, we'll open the floor up to you for every question. So there will be a approximately 10-minute period following our answers for you guys to ask anything you want within that dialogue. I will, in order to keep this organized, if you raise your hand, I'll try to call on you. I'll try to figure out who, and then I'll give you the floor. Yes? Sure. Okay. In your opinion, what is wrong with the San Diego art scene? And let me just say that we will, towards the end, address how to fix these problems. But for now, let's just try to flush out the major problems with the San Diego art scene. we'll start here with Mr. Paluja.
What's wrong with San Diego art scene is that there are too many people trying to write rules. I'm not paying any attention to these rules tonight. I'm just going to give you a statement of what I believe and what I stand for, and that's why I believe I was picked as a mover and shaker. The creative torch is being funneled to all of us from the top down, corporate, institutional, monolithic arts mafia that has become greasy with greed, gluttony, and godless government gold. We are in the midst of a spiritual reawakening, and we will be heard. Now, following my own manifesto, I started Art Rocks Radio to ask certain questions, including, who are the major players? How did they get here? Is there a San Diego art mafia? Highbrow, lowbrow, no-brow. What makes San Diego cultural distinct? Is San Diego a cultural cul-de-sac or a cultural gateway? Does the government help or hinder art? Where are your art tax dollars going? What is artivism? What is artitude? What is art egg? What is artopomy? What is artomatic? What is art food? What is entrepreneurship? Now that mass term, entrepreneurship, is going to color every answer I give tonight. I'm going to have a lot more to say about that. But I can't tell you right now what entrepreneurship is not. It is not non-profit.
No, that would be reading your email. I'm not going to stand up.
Yeah,
It's just going to be from the chair, okay? What's wrong? It's kind of a, well, the question raises a lot of premises, but I won't get into premises about what's wrong or right. Partly what's wrong over time, as I've seen it for, a long view of what's going on in San Diego, is probably lack of confidence among collectors in actually buying San Diego art. Because, when I started thinking about, why the gallery scenes stay small, why the scene stays small here, is partly because people don't buy that much of the work that's produced here by San Diego artists. And that probably, I think that's probably just a confidence issue, because for me, the whole idea of not buying San Diego art is actually sort of a deja vu of what I experienced when I first started out as a critic in LA. And people were asking, why aren't people buying LA art? Of course, we know now that people do buy LA art, right? And they buy a lot of art there. Maybe that'll change now with the economic downturn, but that's a whole other topic. And it really is just a confidence that the artists that are there, that are working, are actually artists worth collecting. And we can get into, merits of artists from one place or another. But I think it all comes from a certain kind of mindset about, that you feel like the art produced in your own backyard is actually worth it. And, in my opinion, there is enough art here that is worth it, so it's really just a mindset about trying to sort of see what, try to sort of get a gauge on what's produced here from outside rather than just having the confidence of, your own point of view. So I think that's been a problem. I've seen it for, going on 2 decades, and I don't think it's changed that.